Hello and welcome back to Jenna Gets Creative. Hey look, I'm doing what I said I would do in my New Year's goals video, and actually putting out a completely random, unique piece that took more than one sitting to complete. Are you proud of me? My friend Artsy Pineapple is holding a giveaway contest on her channel to celebrate reaching and now passing 500 subscribers, and the prompt is Paradise. Create artwork that represents paradise to you. I'm one of the people she's asked to help determine the winner, so I'm probably not actually eligible to enter myself, so I'll let her decide if this is an entry or just a friendly nudge to my audience to check out her contest. I promise I won't vote for my own piece if this is accepted as an entry, but no worries if it's not. I agreed to judge long before this piece was even an idea in my head. But you guys, my audience, if you're interested in entering to win an Amazon gift card, head over to Artsy Pineapple's contest announcement video linked down below and in the pinned comment to find out how to enter. She has a brief list of things that aren't allowed in your artwork for the entry, so make sure you watch that video and follow all of her instructions. She has extended the entry deadline to March 5th, which is a week away from when this video goes out. It was actually when she announced that the deadline was extended that I thought maybe I should make a video, and I got thinking about what I should paint to represent paradise. There are so many options, really. I could go stereotypical and do some tropical island or whatever. I could go literal and do a representation of heaven. I could go the cheeky route and draw the welcome sign to my neighboring town of Paradise, Newfoundland. But what does paradise mean to me? Well, when I think paradise on Earth, paradise during this life, I think about being out in nature, hanging out with animals. I adore horses, and trail riding is my happy place. I also love cats of all sizes, but I've always been particularly enamored with tigers. And birds? What would nature be without birdsong? The two birds I chose to put in this particular painting are a cardinal and a kingfisher. Cardinals remind me of my grandmother. She likes birds, and she has some bird artwork on her walls, and I used to love looking at them when I was a kid. I particularly loved anything in the jay family, and I used to think that cardinals were jays because in artwork with no scale reference, they look like a red version of a blue jay or a Steller jay. Steller jays look just like blue jays with dark heads and no white markings, by the way. I was surprised to find out that not only are cardinals not jays at all, they're smaller. I haven't edited the raw footage into a video for this channel yet, so you haven't seen it, but in December 2019 I ended up painting some cardinals as a gift for my grandma, and I gave it to her the last time we were able to visit my home province, not too long before the world locked down. She hung it right above her sink, so she sees it every time she washes the dishes or gets water, and that just melted my heart. She wants to see this little painting I did for her every day, so she hung it in a place she'll look multiple times every day. As for the kingfisher, I didn't know these gorgeous colorful birds existed until I started joining fine art groups on Facebook a couple years ago and saw all sorts of colored pencil artists doing the same few Pixabay references of these things. But they're stunning, and I want to paint them over and over again. Seriously, why doesn't BC have birds that colorful? I grew up thinking robins were the coolest thing. I'm preparing this voiceover before the painting is actually finished, so I can't really talk about the supplies in great detail. The final decisions haven't been made yet. The paper is B Paper Company cotton watercolor paper, and the starting line art is a 0.1mm Staedtler pigment liner. If you could still see orange at the beginning, that was a Prismacolor Kohl Erase pencil. It didn't erase all the way, but that's fine. Kohl Erase is semi-water soluble, so it'll blend out. And if it shows through, who cares? I put intentional line art in, so I'm not afraid of some sketch lines. At this point, I plan to use a mix of my pan watercolors, which means Winsor Newton Cotman, Daler-Rowney Aquafine, Thomas Kincaid, Royal Talens Van Gogh, and possibly the one lonely green one that I own from Sennelier. It's possible I may pull out my watercolor markers. It's possible I may do details on top in colored pencil. It's possible I may put more line work on top, and that'll be with whatever pens I reach for in the moment. If I do, it'll either be black pigment liner ink from one of my usual brands, or a Tombow Fudenosuke pen, or if I go with colors, it'll be the Tombows, or possibly the Staedtler Tri Plus fine liners. Remember how I mention the fact that my neighboring town is called Paradise, though? People like finding the driving distances on Google Maps between different places with funny names, and this is not the only town of Paradise. People like finding the distance between Paradise and other town names with similar good or bad place names along those vibes, and towns with rated R nature names. Don't worry, Artsy, I'm not going to say any of those. I'm just saying this so the next bit will make sense. Paradise, Newfoundland is less than 2 hours driving distance from a certain infamous 5-letter town starting with a D that Jimmy Kimmel caught wind of a few years back. Again, not saying the name of it. I may not be monetized yet, but I figure it's probably a smart idea to stay on the good side of the censor bots. But my reason for bringing this up is that we actually went camping there last summer, and it's a pretty cool spot. Nice little Ocean Cove town, cute place to drive around, great camping parks. How did camping go? Entertaining. And that's what the point of the previous ramble was. It's story time. So at the beginning of the summer last year, my husband bought a 20-year-old pop-up camper trailer off the classifieds, and he got a great deal on it because it needed repairs. Well, he repaired it, we took it out for a spin, it was great. We looked for the opportunity to use it again. The camper has 2 beds that pop out the either ends, and the table space turns into a third, so we booked camping in the town I'm not naming. We figured brother-in-law Robert and his girlfriend Nicole could just stay in the camper with us, lots of space. Peter and I on one end, Robert and Nicole on the other, little Dorothy on the table bed. Well, when they arrived at the site after we already set up the camper and they started to bring their stuff in, they tossed all their stuff up on the back end bed. Then Nicole was up on it and all the way at the end, and she unzipped the side window to get Dorothy's attention outside. Then Robert wanted in on that and crawled all the way to the end of the bed with Nicole and their stuff. See where this is going? Those things are supposed to hold well over 1,000 pounds, but remember, it was 20 years old, and when it was sold, it needed repairs. One of the support bars was dented, apparently, and it just gave up. The bar folded, the other bar had no choice but to fold. The fully extended bed platform just folded out of view. I was sitting on the bed at the opposite end at the time, and it was like watching them sink out of sight in slow motion. And it was hilarious because while Robert just immediately stepped back into the camper, Nicole laid there half on the bed and half on the ground going, "But I don't have shoes on." Nobody knows why her concern upon finding herself dumped on the ground outside the camper was her lack of shoes, but it was the joke of the weekend for the rest of the trip. Well, luckily they still had their tent from a previous trip in their truck, so they were able to just set that up. We folded the back end canvas down over the now open end of the trailer, tossed the bent platform in the back of the truck, and tried to enjoy the weekend despite the new repairs the trailer now needed. So you're thinking the camping trip couldn't have gotten more interesting than that, right? Wrong. Our site neighbors were 2 middle-aged couples in a large RV, and one of the couples was fighting the whole time. When they weren't fighting, it was because the ladies were off on a walk or they were finally all asleep. And when the men had the site to themselves, their site turned into karaoke central, and neither of them could carry a tune in a bucket. On the second day, late in the afternoon, one of them declared, "That's it, I'm done with that woman," and walked away. Then the woman left walking, presumably his wife, and there was enough of a time gap she probably wasn't going to catch him. And then the other couple starts packing up and left. Like their friends possibly just ended their marriage and they're stranding them at the campground. When the dust settled, we overheard the other sites nearby gossiping about the situation. From the sound of it, they'd been there in that section for a couple of weeks, and every night was like the first night we were stuck beside them. We were right down by swimming access, so people in RVs were definitely there for long stays. And apparently this quartet of loudness had not endeared themselves to anyone else. But at least our next night was quiet, and we finally got a fire pit. The campground didn't have enough fire pits for everyone for some reason, and we were on the wait list to get one. By the time the park workers came down to check the vacated site and tell us we could have their fire pit, we had already claimed it and lit a fire. So yeah, very entertaining camping trip. Don't worry, we were able to fix the camper, and we're going to put extra supports under the bed platform next time. Don't forget to check out Artsy Pineapple's giveaway contest if you get here in time. The links are in the description and the pinned comment down below, and the new deadline is March 5th. If you're looking for more to watch, I've got some suggestions up on the left side of the screen now. Don't forget to like, comment, maybe even subscribe, and if you like living life creatively, whatever that means to you, I'd love to have you along for the ride. Bye guys!